Just a quick heads up, at the end of this video we'll have a special tribute to the winter of 2023, which was quite spectacular. Hi, Dave Diegelman with Equity Real Estate here for our market summary report for May 2023. And of course we're going to use the numbers from April. I'm excited about this month because we really didn't have the same type of spring we would normally have. Normally, the weather starts getting really nice in southern Utah, usually March, February, end of February, March. And northern Utah, might not be so nice. It might be kind of gray. So we get a lot of buyers that come in and they're just sick of the gray weather and such. And they come down here and buy. Well, this year, a lot of those people came down and found that it was still cold here. In fact, I think winter just stopped about 3 weeks ago. So anyway, right now we have a lot of buyers coming into the marketplace, and you're going to see that in the numbers. So let's just take a look at what we have for the numbers. You can see the numbers of listings way up here, 1,500. We actually dipped below 1,500. We're at 1,485 right now, or at the last day of April. So that is the first time in 6 months, 7 months, we've been below the 1,500 number in residential listings. So that's a normal marketplace again. You can see down here the new listings. Take it off, put it on. New listings that are coming on have increased, and this is typical of this time of year. And typically it's going to start declining a little bit, which means that with less inventory coming on, it's going to be harder to find homes because some of them will be sold. Listing prices, if we look at the different listing prices here, let's look at the median sales price. We peaked out in sold median price of June 2022 at $560, and right now we're at $499. Now this doesn't mean that we've had that decline in the market, although it is very close to what the decline has been. We've come down about 10% off the high, which was in June, but this doesn't compare apples to apples necessarily, even though it is the median sales price. The new prices coming on, you can see that in February, there was a lot of higher end inventory that was coming on, not higher end necessarily, but inventory that was coming on in the $600,000 range. And right now it's coming on at about $535. And that's just where the median inventory is coming on. And the list prices you can see have stabilized. And generally speaking, we'll see this on the numbers that the list price is going to be pretty close to the sold prices right now. So if we were to take out this big gap that's here, if we look in categories of where things get listed and where they got listed last year, that gap is closing. Absorption rate in months, we were at less than 1 month's rate, and right now we're at 4 months. And again, that's a healthy marketplace. Sold to list ratio, we're going to look at this a little bit more detail, but sold to list ratio was all over the map. You can see back here where it was at almost 102%, 101%, and that means there was a lot of multiple offers then. So you can see it kind of bottomed out in January of 23 at 92.6%, so almost 93%, and right now it's at about 95%. So what that means is if a $500,000 property is on the marketplace, it might end up selling for $475 if it was priced kind of within the realm of the comps. So for buyers, that's good news. There's some negotiating room. For sellers, you got to price accurately, otherwise your property might not get shown or sold. Days on the market, we've been hovering for the last 4 months at around 70 days, 74 days. And I suspect that that's going to somewhat continue, but I will see that drop probably in the next month or two because of the momentum that we have in the market right now. And then price volume, we're going to look at this a little bit also, but let's look at the sold sale volume. And this is kind of encouraging. 194, almost 200 million in a month. And at our peak, we were at 300, just under 300. So really not that far off from last year's numbers. If you look at it in that perspective, we're probably about 20% off on our overall volume that the market's doing. Of course, a lot of new listings coming on, and the active volume is up. So let's switch over to here real quick. We're going to look at a couple of different trends that we see. And this goes back 2 years, so it gives us a little bit more window back into the crazier markets we've been coming out of. So numbers of listings, you can see right now we're at about 340. These are residential units. And we were as high as 562. But let's compare that to the active listings. So you can see the sold listings down here, active listings up here. And the pending listings, the ones that are going under contract, you can see that that really parallels the line of the sold listings. So what does that tell me? We have a lot of inventory that's on the market that was priced too high and hasn't come down yet, and probably needs to. So you definitely, if you put your house on the market, you want to price it accordingly. Price trends, sold median sale. We'll look at the pending median sale. Again, it's going to be very close to that. So again, proper pricing is showing that is, it's a something that is critical right now. The sale to list price ratio. So this is over a longer term, and you can see we were up over 102% 2 years ago. And last year, in what I call the craziest market I've ever seen, which this peak was also, it was 101%. That means there was a lot of multiple offers and very little inventory. So right now we're at 97.9, so almost 98%. So what that means on a $500,000 home, you might, have a couple percentage points come off, and maybe $5,000 coming off of that mark, maybe $10,000, but not a whole lot coming off of that mark. So if you're a buyer and you're looking to lowball offers on listings that have been priced appropriately, you're going to find yourself kind of blue because you're probably not going to get acceptance on it. So again, offers really have to follow what the trends are, and this is why, as a professional real estate agent, I'm in this market daily, so we kind of know where these trends go on a day-to-day basis. And we can also tell by advertising when we get hits on advertising. And I can tell you right now, it's usually an indication if we get a lot of hits on advertising where the market's going over the next 2 months. And it's been unreal in the last 20 days. So I anticipate that there's a lot more buyers that will be coming into the marketplace. If we look at this to the sale to the original price ratio, we're going to see that it's down at 95%. So oftentimes originally people will put something on the market for substantially more than what the comps are showing, and then they have to bring their list price down. And so that's the difference between these two lines. This is after it's adjusted, the green one, and this is after it's down from the original list price. So again, if you price more accurately, you're going to have a much better time on the market as a seller. Days on market, we've been, this is a funny one because we generally will keep, let's look at the average days on market. Median is always a better number to use, but in this case, the average, and I posted something on last report about the difference between median and average, but the average is probably going to be a little bit more accurate. We've been hovering at about 70 days for about 4 months, but the median doesn't show that. And so if you're putting your home on the market, you may get it sold within the first week. I mean, there's a really good chance you could, but the odds are it's going to be 60 to 70 days before it is sold. And months worth of inventory. Again, right now we're down in the 4.36 range. We went under 4 months worth of inventory for just a short amount of time in March. And what that tells me is that the market's still really strong. Going into the overall sales volume, I want to use this one as more of an example than the first one that I showed you. This just shows the overall price volume of how many things are getting closed. So the sold volume. So right now we're at the end of April, end of April, we're at 203.57 million. And if we go to last year in May, the closeout of May, it was 233. Now, last year was, in my 20 years of real estate, probably the craziest year I've ever seen. So the fact that we have that many buyers still in the market tells me that the St. George area, southern Utah area, is not as susceptible as a lot of other parts of the United States. And simply put, a lot of people want to move here for the reason that a lot of people live here. It's beautiful. The weather is usually really mild and nice. We get some hot months, we get some cold months, but in general, you can play golf all year round. So those are the things that kind of impress me the most about our market right now. And again, last year, I'm sorry, because I showed you this was 2 years ago. Last year we were right here. So we were quite a bit higher last year, but craziest market I've ever seen, and it topped out in March. But April, we were about 30% higher than we are right now. But overall, with interest rates and what they've done, and that's not a bad market. It's a really, really healthy market. So I hope you've enjoyed this. In the newsletter, I give a few more details, and then of the numbers themselves and my outlook on the marketplace. But thank you for joining me, and have a blessed 2023. If you do have any questions about buying or selling real estate, feel free to give me a call. My direct private line is 435-703-4041. I've been a realtor for 20 years and a professional photographer for twice that time. What I love about real estate in southern Utah is helping clients find the perfect property in this beautiful corner of God's creation. What I love as a photographer living in a view home is that I get to capture these fleeting moments of light from my back porch. I'm Dave Diegelman. If you're looking to make a move, let's chat.